YouTube, how's it going? It's Multiplier here for another video. So what is going on? I'm in the wrong bit, nightmare. Basically, I have collated, fancy word that, but learning words with Multiplier, I have collated my favorite interviews on the YouTube related to music production. They are fantastic. Why should you care? Basically, they have knowledge in their brains that you might want in your brains because it's good knowledge. Don't go to college to get knowledge. Go to my playlist, in fact, because my playlist is it's a curated, another good word, it's a curated list of only the best interviews with only the best professionals. As I'm sure you're aware, a lot of these interviews with professional producers are a bit useless. I mean, we've all been there, we've all done useless videos, but some of these are really bad, and it's quite hard just looking at the titles to know which of the videos you should watch and which of the ones you should not watch. So what I've done for you is take all the guesswork out and provided the list of what I think are the most useful, poignant, good, other words too, just the best interviews on the internet currently relating to music production. What was I saying? Oh yeah, there'll be a link in the description below directly to the playlist, but what I'm going to do is talk for a few more minutes about my favorite bits so far in this interview playlist. Favorite interview playlist. Because there are some highlights that you may not expect. So there are 9 currently on the playlist. 2 are noisier. Technically 4 are Steve Duda. Let's be honest, Steve Duda knows more than almost anybody else in the industry about technical details, not only synthesis, but mixing, sound design, and just making stuff sound good, and also knowing the science behind it. So Steve Duda is the man. That's why I have basically 4 with him in. One with Deadmau 5 even, Joel Zimmerman. That one he is with Steve Duda. And then one has a guy called Mark Mangini. Now there's a chance I've written that down wrong, but he's got a name like that, so it's maybe similar to Mark Mangini. Must admit, I've never heard of him, but it's a very, very, very good, in fact, it's fantastic. It's not just very, very good, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic interview on Pensado's place. He's a sound designer in the world of film. He's one of the most well-known people who, there's a name for these people, I can't remember the name, but yeah, he's a person who makes all the sounds in films, movies, Aliens, Batmans, Transformers, all those amazing sounds, movies even. He makes the sounds for all your favorite movies. And in the interview, he talks about lots of things, not only how he makes them, but loads of conceptual stuff that I found really interesting. Stuff like why Foley sounds work. He talks about the industry and many, many more things that, in fact, I'm not going to spend 10 minutes talking about that. So do watch the interview if you like the sound of sounds in movies. That's the Mark Mangini one. I do apologize for just completely messing up his name, but reading and culture is not my forte. There's also this one, which hopefully is still on YouTube, and if it's not, it'll be rather embarrassing. I don't have to do some sort of text edit here, but there is an amazing video from the guy who started the company Function One with a K. If you haven't heard of Function One is the company that makes the best live speaker systems in the world. You know those let me show you a picture. Here is a very blurry picture, but you know those speakers that look like that? They look like Aliens made them. Well, in fact, Aliens didn't make them. It was a company called Function One, and they are the best speakers. You see them in clubs, festivals, anywhere that likes the best sound possible. Doing. Let's get back to the list. He talks about speaker systems, a lot about that, but it's really interesting, so do check it out. Probably could have given you a better explanation, but trust me, just use your trust right now. It's a very, very good video. You should watch it. In fact, let me give you 3 bits of information from the Steve Duda ones that I think you'll find interesting, and that will spark your curiosity to check out the entire playlist. In one of the videos, which I currently have down as Steve Duda Random Interview, but it's probably got a proper name, in that interview he talks about Skrillex and how Skrillex basically did a track for a big label. He did one of his Skrillex tracks around the time of Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. He did a track for a massive label, and the label was like, shall we send it off to get it quote-unquote, I can't use that shoulder, quote-unquote professionally mixed. So yeah, Skrillex sent off his track, but when he got it back from the professional mixers who mixed it in a proper way, it didn't have that right energy, it didn't have the right rawness, the right attitude that Skrillex wanted in his tracks. So strangely, Skrillex decided not to use a track that was maybe more technically correct in the way it was mixed, and he actually went with his own mix. which was a lot less three-dimensional. It was more two-dimensional, but the way it was more two-dimensional worked for the sort of track he was making. It carried the right sort of energy. Quite hard to explain, but do check out the video if you like the sound of Skrillex, mixing, and Steve Duda. Bit of information number 2, in another of the Steve Duda things that Steve Duda talks about in Pyramid. That's a name of some sort of YouTube channel, I think. Yes, just Steve Duda Pyramid. In one of these I'm going to link to. In fact, it's a 3-part of that. In one of the parts, can't remember which part, Steve Duda said something incredibly important about mixing, which is most of the job of mixing, maybe 90 to 95% of it, is simply getting the levels correctly and then doing bits of automation. And that is something that I've been telling people for a long time. In fact, you can check out my videos 4 years ago, and that's something I talk about a lot when I say don't focus on EQ and compression, focus mostly on just getting the levels right. You can still do bits of EQ and compression if you want, but most of mixing is just getting the levels right and automating that over time to get everything in balance. Number 3 is going to be also from that Pyramid series of videos, a 3-parter. Oh, and we're on part 3. I am jibber jabbering a lot today. This final bit of information is... lost track of where I am. Where am I in that sentence? Who knows? Let's start again. Simple sentences multiplier. Simple sentences. In one of the videos, Steve Duda does, with the Pyramid series, he talks about how to get a clean sound, a quote-unquote clean sound, and what that means, how to approach it, and therefore how to create quote-unquote clean sounds. If that sounds interesting to you, then check out the video, Steve Duda Pyramid series, and it will be somewhere in those 3 long videos. Just watch the whole thing. It's amazing. Trust me, I chose it because it's good. Jibber jabbering aside, that playlist right there that I'm curating is the best of the best when it comes to music production and YouTube. As I say, if you have any more suggestions, do send me an email. I'll check it out and what's going on there. And that'd be cool because then you've contributed to knowledge. You've contributed to people's knowledge, the knowledge of the people, YouTube, music production, the internet. That is it. That is it, people. Do check out the interview playlist, link below, that I've collated, curated. I think I can technically both use. I think both words do technically work in that context. Up in multiplier, I will catch you guys on the flippity flip.